There are three comments I hear all the time about 22 ARC. First, anyone that talks about it on social media with any kind of enthusiasm is obviously a shill. Second, I don't want to use a 22 caliber projectile because it fragments too easily on impact to be effective. And last but not least, why do I need a 22 ARC if I already have a 5.56 gun? It's the same, right? It can't do anything M855 does it? Well, let's cover these in order. First, nope, I'm not a shill, just an early adopter because I had access to the data. I was probably shooting 22 ARC long before you guys were. 5.56 has a reputation for coming apart. I gotta agree with you on that. However, 22 ARC, as we're about to discuss, is engineered much differently than the 223 5.56 projectiles that you're used to dealing with. And of course, finally, do you need a 22 ARC if you already have a 5.56? Well, there's definitely some room for debate here. But suffice it to say, M855 sucks in the accuracy, range, energy delivery, and overall performance compared to 22 ARC. We all know M855 isn't the only round out there, and stuff loaded with projectiles like the Sierra Match King, those 77 grain projectiles definitely raise the stakes in this comparison. Let's cut through the hype and see if the 22 ARC is really changing the game, especially for the long range guys and the hunters. So today, we're diving into the real world difference between 5.56 and 22 ARC, from ballistics and accuracy, terminal performance, compatibility, and cost. By the end, you'll know exactly which one makes sense for whatever application you're using your firearm for. So for this first section, we're going to talk about ballistics and performance. Let's talk numbers specifically. 5.56 NATO, well, it's firing a 55 to a 77 grain bullet, depending on your load. It's reliable and it is proven. We've got a lot of trigger time behind the 5.56 and SBRs, 16-inch carbines, and even my old Mark 12. It's pretty surprising what that little round can do. When I said it was a proven performer, it is. It's absolutely reliable and it is proven. But let's look at the 22 ARC. That's a purpose-built round from Hornady. It's designed to send a 62 to 88 grain bullet flatter and harder. Notice I didn't say faster. We'll get to that in a minute. But it has excellent sectional density and ballistic coefficient values, and that translates to better downrange energy retention and reduced wind drift compared to the 5.56. So while the 5.56 generally starts with a higher velocity, its lower ballistic coefficient results in a faster velocity loss and increased susceptibility to wind deflection, especially at extended ranges. Precision shooting, ringing still, or hunting predators way out there, 400 yards and out, well, the edge always goes to 22 ARC. But if you need a reliable, affordable, readily available round for general use like plinking, close to mid-range shooting, the 5.56 NATO remains a strong choice. So in this next section, let's talk about compatibility and some other considerations. So here's what you need to know before you commit. 5.56 is the standard. More than likely, you already have both a carbine and a pile of ammo already. Magazines, bolt carriers, ammo, all of that is available at nearly any retail outlet. That availability is truly an advantage if you're just looking for the gun that you just want to go burn powder with. Plinking, general purpose use, and practicing your skill sets, well, there's some 5.56 out there for just that. And it's just that. And it's pretty cheap. Heck, even there's some cheap carbines out there as well. 22 ARC, that's an upgrade. It's a different barrel, a unique bolt, and of course there's some headspace stuff to sort through there just on that point alone. And it's a unique magazine that supports the round. So a podunk feed and ammo supply store, well, chances are it might not have everything you need. But here's the thing, you can get that stuff. So if you're planning on using the stuff you already have for your 5.56 as spares, well, not everything is going to work, but parts and entire firearms are out there. And you can even convert your 5.56 to 22 ARC just by switching a few key components. In this next section, let's talk about real-world use cases. The 5.56 NATO, it's a military-derived round known for its widespread availability and relatively low cost. For general range time, training, or even defense, 5.56 still dominates. You can certainly spend more money on 5.56 that's loaded with the 77 grain match stuff, and it does improve the performance of the 5.56 round considerably, but it still doesn't raise it to the 22 ARC level. So if your focus is on long-range varmint control, precision shooting, and predator hunting at a distance, or you just want a flatter shooting AR that punches well above its weight, 22 ARC is where you want to start looking. That purposefully designed projectile, well, that makes a difference when accuracy matters most. It's just going to cost you a little coin if you want to go there. So, speaking about spending some of that coin, let's talk about ammo cost, availability, and some final thoughts. So, if availability and cost is your primary driving factor, 5.56, it trumps everything. It's cheap and it's everywhere. You can buy it at most of your local feed store, and of course, a plethora of places you can buy it online. 22 ARC is newer, it's available in less places, and it costs more per round. So, where are you going to invest your money? That's what you kind of have to ask yourself. So, I have a lot to say about the 22 ARC. For me, it is absolutely a game changer for the AR platform. It really multiplies the capability of the carbine and lethality. Its ability to shoot exceptionally flat is fantastic for taking shots without worrying about holdover. And its low recoil, while delivering a round at distance with useful energy, is the heat. It is performance you have to pay for. But if this type of performance is what you need, you got to spend the coin. 5.56, it does everything I need it to do, 100 yards and in. That old Mark 12 I was talking about, it gets used pretty often, but with some pretty costly 77 grain ammo. And that's not much cheaper than 22 ARC. Doing drills with my carbine, I'm burning cheap 55 grain because it pokes holes just fine at 36 yards. So should you ditch 5.56? Heck no. But should you ignore the 22 ARC and what it brings to the table? Definitely not. Ask yourself what you want. Hole punching, defensive use, 100 yards and in, I'm going 5.56 all the way. Turning off a coyote at night, 300 yards away, well, precision and lethality at a distance is what the ARC is all about. That's what I would go with then. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate you guys checking us out and watching our videos. Please leave us some comments and tell me, have you shot both? Drop a comment in the comments section and let's hear what you think.